Ms. Edgecomb, my question is, what do you feel can be done by the Hillsborough County School Board to improve graduation rates amongst African American males?
I think one of the first things we need to do is help our students understand the importance of what it means to get a good education. And I think if they believe that there's hope in that, and that there is an opportunity to make their lives better, perhaps they will be a more critical part of their own education. I think we really need to talk to students and see what it is about what we're doing in this school district that we are doing well for them in order for them to succeed. We need to hear their voices about the things that we are doing well. And we've got to collaborate with this community. The school can't do it all. It takes the students themselves, it takes the support of parents, whatever that may look like. It certainly takes the sensitivity of highly qualified teachers to help kids understand and realize their dreams. But the most important part, it has to be a collaborative effort with all of us doing our part. Rather than blaming, we should be building. Rather than pointing fingers, we should become partnering in how we can do that. But I think it really has to be a point of support, good communication, helping students to understand their responsibility, and on our part as a school district, listening to what we are doing well and improving on the things that we aren't, and getting our students really ready for the world in which they're going to live.
Let me interject one point. I knew I'd forget something. There's a minute to answer each question. Our timekeeper's here. He will raise the card, and it will say 30 seconds, and then when he raises it the second time, that's it. Okay. Mr. Ballard, sorry.
Could I get that?
Mr. Ballard, what do you feel can be done by the Hillsborough County School Board to improve graduation rates amongst African American males?
First of all, being on the campaign trail now for the last 90 days, really hitting the street, the one thing that I've learned quickly is we've not listened to the students. We've not listened to them. We've not heard them. Some of the things they're saying that we're doing wrong, and we're not willing to admit that. Second of all, we haven't listened to the parents. And I think, what you find out is the fact that until we inventory that and listen to find out what the people, the parents, and the schools need to do, we can't make intelligent decisions to solve the problem. Thank you.
Ms. Edgecomb, how do we prepare our students in regards to college readiness?
Well, I think we have to start early talking about college as a possibility. Not all students really believe that can be part of their dreams. Then the second thing is prepare them in terms of not only coursework, but what it means to go to college and how to get ready for it, both mentally, physically, and emotionally, because I think there has to be this sense of, I'm capable of doing that. We've got to start early, helping kids to get an inventory, take the right courses, and help and support them in order that they can succeed in that dream.
On the same note, I basically been in the classroom for 23 years and working with very difficult vocational students. All kids are not going to go to college. We need to recognize that early. We need to identify that, and we need to start targeting those behaviors around 8th, 9th grade. For those kids that are ready to go, they're going to go. For those kids that are not ready to go, we need a plan of action to help them figure out what they want to do and where they will go. Thank you.
Mr. Ballard, what are your thoughts on expanding charter schools and the role they play within the African American community?
Charter schools, in my opinion, will work if we have accountability. We just recently closed a charter school this week. I find it very annoying to find out that we closed it at the last minute when we're supposed to be evaluating it all along. Whether you're on that side or this side, until you hold accountability with a report card to the public, the community, and others, I don't think it makes really a difference. If we're doing what's right, whether it's chartered or unchartered, and we're being accountable, that's what we should be doing.
Same question? Accountability is really important. There's a process that's been placed for all school districts by the legislature of what that looks like in order to apply for an application, how it's approved, what the responsibilities are. It's the role of the school district and the role of the school board is to, first of all, to review that and to approve that application. After that, it is up to those who are running that school to hold themselves accountable, to always communicate with parents, to provide the best education for their students, to provide the oversight that will lead them to the direction in which some of our schools have found themselves. It is a partnership, but the whole idea of charter schools was to allow those schools to be innovative, to make the decisions, and not to have to adhere to some of the things that public schools have to.
Time. Dr. Ballard? What are you prepared to do
In the area, what are you prepared to do in the areas of administration and student body harassment of students that have been misclassified in a conflict of interest?
That's almost a lottery question. First of all, I think we need to examine the rules and regulations that we say we have in place. And we need to honestly make sure that each of you, as well as parents and the student, understand what the rules are. You can't have rules in one school and have different rules in another. You just can't do it. I would say to your answer, let's inventory, get the rules right, and let's follow the rules. Simple.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that question. You're going to answer the same one, please.
What are you prepared to do in the areas of administration and student body harassment of students that have been misclassified in a conflict of interest?
One of the things that we all have to do is understand what the expectations are and communicate them. We have to have students understand what that looks like and sounds like. Administrators should be held accountable for following the rules, following the procedures, and communicating them well. We need to also understand what mediation might look like in that sense. It is, again, the ability to communicate well, to investigate well, to know what the rules are, to set the expectations for how the rules are to be followed, and to then to make sure that everything is done, that there's safeguards to ensure that those things don't become part of the norm. But in those rare occasions when they do, we need to be fair, just, and honest.
Okay, we're now at the interesting part where the candidate will be able to ask their opponent a question, and the answer will be a minute. So, Ms. Edgecomb, do you have a question for your opponent?
You talk about the ability to help kids, or especially young males, get on the right track. Can you give me very specifically one strategy or two that you would bring before a school board or to the superintendent in consideration of trying to improve the life, the success of African American students, male students specifically?
Great question, Ms. Edgecomb. I appreciate you asking about it. For 35 years in the community as a businessman, for 35 years, not only in the school district as a vocational teacher and trainer, and even in many times helping your family. We have taken young men from the street and who have failed, and we have trained them how to become successful bricklayers, painters, and etc. And I think we will continue doing that, both in the private side as well as in the public side, with a superintendent and a school administration that's willing to listen. Thank you.
And Mr. Ballard, do you have a question for your opponent?
Ms. Edgecomb, as a friend and longtime respectful person to your family, my only question would be, if you were to be reelected, what assurance do we have as a businessman, a parent, and a teacher, educator, former educator, still educating, what are we going to do to ring the bell when the superintendent and her staff does not do what they're supposed to be doing to support this African American community? And as you said, specifically African American young men that are walking around, lost in space, pants hanging down, suspension rates going up, dropout rates falling, and again, no activity to see where they're going. Thank you.
One of the things that I have learned over the 8 years that I've been on the school board, that it's going to take the consensus of the entire board to make anything happen. no matter what my passion might be about a particular issue, that it's going to take all of us. So the first thing I would be a consensus builder with us board, talking about strategies to invite, invoke, and get the superintendent to understand what this looks like, how demanding it is and compelling it is that we face that problem. We talk about it, there'll be a plan, a specific plan of action, that there'll be strategies, there'll be oversight, and a lot of accountability to make sure schools are culturally competent in terms of working with youngsters, findings, looking at models throughout this country that are working, holding the superintendent and ourselves accountable for making it happen, and also being out there, finding mentors, because that's what many of our young men are lacking.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask the panelists if they have two questions, at least two questions from the audience that we can ask the candidates. Oh, we're done? Okay, well.